Well, more Malaysians living here in Singapore, in southern Thailand, Brunei and Kalimantan will be allowed to cast postal ballots in Malaysia's 15th general election. They just need to register online to qualify. Now, previously, postal ballots were allowed only for registered voters who had lived or returned to Malaysia for at least 30 days. And those votes are crucial. Nearly 500,000 Malaysians living and working in Singapore played a key role in the last election. Many packed the causeway just so that they could exercise their democratic right in their homeland. With the more flexible postal voting criteria in place this time around, the number of ballots cast could grow. More young people are also eligible, including Malaysian students here in Singapore. Well, for more, Tan Sehui joins us from Johor Bahru. Sehui, what has the reaction been in Johor on news that the general election is going to be held before the end of this year?
I spoke to quite a number of Johorians right after the announcement that the parliament was dissolved, and a large number of them say that they do not wish to see the elections being held this year. But then again, sentiments have been split between the older generation as well as the younger generation. The older generation say they want to see it happen next year because they've just come out of the COVID-19 pandemic. The economy is not in such a good state, and also the monsoon season is fast approaching. But the younger generation, for the same reasons, they are saying that they want to see change. They want to see a new government because the economy is in such a state. They want to see it improve. And because the pandemic is improving, the pandemic situation is improving here in Malaysia. So they really want to vote and exercise their right to vote. But there's a special group of younger generation of voters, and that is those that are age 18. They told me that they are a bit confused because there are so many parties and they're quite young. They're not sure who to vote. And analysts told me that there could be a three-cornered fight between among Barisan Nasional, Pakatan Harapan, as well as Perikatan Nasional. So we can see why they are quite confused. So I spoke to the Johor opposition head earlier, just right after the dissolution of parliament, Mr. Liu Chin Tong, and he says that he's confident that his party, the DAP, will be able to win at least 8 seats. And he expects Barisan Nasional to as well win 8 seats. So he says 10 seats out of 26 will be up for grabs. And they're really going all out to win these voters, especially the younger voters. And they're also using TikTok. It's never been used before during elections. And they're really trying to woo younger voters and woo these young votes to come out and vote for them. And so it's really anyone's game at this point.
Yeah, social media certainly will play a part in these elections, as they have in many other elections around the world. And so there are hundreds of thousands of Malaysians living right here and working here as well in Singapore. Do you expect many of them to cast their votes this time around, just like they did back in 2018?
Yeah, as you said, nearly 500,000 Malaysians work in Singapore. And back in 2018, we saw many of them come back to Malaysia to vote. And because at that time there was a strong narrative, and that was to bring down the then Najib government. But analysts say there isn't that strong a narrative this year, so there may not be such a strong turnout. Yet again, there is this new postal service that you were mentioning as well. Overseas Singaporeans can vote as long as they register online. So they can vote from overseas. They don't have to come all the way back to Malaysia. But then again, we saw during the Johor state elections, there were very few people who decided to use the postal service because they felt that their vote may not be kept secret. So that's why they may not choose to use the postal service. So the turnout really may not be that strong this year.
Well, voters certainly will have plenty to take into account. Sehui, thank you very much for that. Sehui, they're live for us in Johor Bahru.